I think everyone saw. We played 40 minutes. 40 minutes of good basketball. We've played bits and pieces of every game in good basketball, but this is the first real 40-minute effort we had. And I think it was key to the defensive end. Last time we played them, I made a point and I went overboard with it that they shot 60% against us the second half and scored 90 points. You're not going to beat anybody giving up 90 points and letting a team shoot 60%. So that was a drum I beat for the last couple of days with the team. They've got pride, and they know that that's not how they want to be portrayed or remembered. So they came out and played a really good defensive game. And when you play good defense, then you get the fast breaks you've been looking for. You're getting misses, and now you can run out, and then the offense opens up. And offensively, I'll say again that I think this is the back-to-back games where we had 22 assists. I think Wyoming was 35 baskets and 22 assists, and this was 36 baskets and 22 assists. So the kids are playing the right way. They're sharing the ball, they're playing for each other, and they're taking great pride in that. Our bench, again, was productive. I don't know what the point total was. Mike, you know what it was, 38?
30 to 7.
30 and 7. So this is back-to-back games where we had productive bench play. And I always felt that was important. I've talked on that all year, that I like my bench, but I like them when I have all my starters. So, I don't have to move a bench guy to a starting role, and so now I have the bench I've wanted all year, and they're productive, and they play with great energy, and they play unselfish. So it's a good time of year to be playing your best basketball, late February into March. And so right now we're playing our best basketball. So now the challenge is to see if we can leave the confines of Viejas and go do this on the road, to duplicate this kind of performance on the road. It'll never be as easy away from home, but we can play to a high standard and see if we can get a road win and keep this momentum going into the conference tournament in 2 weeks.
Speaking of the bench, how comforting is it to know that, like tonight, you can put in your bench players and the lead not only stays but increases?
It's great. And the thing is, you don't put them in because they're great offensive players. You put them in because they can guard. And you can play a guy if he's guarding. He might miss a shot or two, but if they're playing hard at the defensive end and not giving anything up, then you can ride with them longer until they get in a rhythm. That's the hardest thing off the bench, is getting a rhythm. So I can't put my bench in and give up 8 to 10 points as I'm waiting for them to get in an offensive rhythm. So they've come in and guarded great. And that defense, whether they'll want to believe it or admit it or not, the defense has gotten them into the rhythm of the game, not the offense. So they're playing hard defensively. That gets them in the rhythm of the game, and then the offense comes easier to them.
Thought you beat Gonzaga when they were number 12 earlier in the season, but was this your most complete one today?
Yeah, I think so, because we had contributions from more players. At the end of Gonzaga, Malik wasn't in the game, and so Malik's playing his best basketball down the stretch, and then Trey comes back. I think he's got 10 assists in 2 games, and that's in 24 and 21 minutes. And I think we watch Trey. Trey always plays his all, but he's nowhere near in game shape yet. He's only practiced maybe 1 full day and played 2 full games. So the key for Trey is, we keep rehabbing the ankle, but at the same time trying to get him back into some semblance of game shape. Because once he's back in game shape, then I think his contributions will even grow more.
You guys came into this game 8th in the conference, but just 2 games out of like a tie for 3rd. I mean, just that close to. How important is it in the stretch if you can position yourself maybe to play out of that Wednesday game and get into a Thursday game if you can in Vegas?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if given a choice, you'd always choose to play 3 instead of 4 games. But college basketball history is storied of teams that win 4 games in the tournament. So whatever place we get, we'll play to win that tournament and get to the NCAA tournament. I think UConn was the one I mentioned a couple of times that wasn't going to the NCAA tournament, and they won 4 or 5 games at the Garden. I think Mike says 5 games at the Garden, beat us in Anaheim and won the national championship. So the key at the end of the year is playing your best basketball. So if it's 4 games, it's 4, and hopefully it's 3. But if we're playing our best basketball, then I'll feel good about our chances no matter how many games it is.
As hard as these guys have worked and as hard as they've played in games, did you see a little bit different level today from them as far as just the overall kind of effort, Brian, just the completeness of how they played and the focus, I guess?
Yeah, it's like we're no different than any other team. It's when we start rolling downhill too, we're hard to stop. So when we were on the road at Fresno and Nevada and they started rolling downhill, you know, then it's the extreme the other way. It's like, wow, has the team given in? You know, so I don't think anybody sat there and felt UNLV gave in. I just think they thought the Aztecs played at a superior level. And so that's college basketball. That's life on the road or at home. And so obviously, when you're at home, your chances are greater. I mean, we're 11-2 in this building and feel like we should be 13-0. But now we have to see, like I said, the challenge is to go on the road and see if we're tough enough to win on the road. And that's a toughness thing. It's not going to be as easy. The two places we're going, we lost last year, at Air Force and at San Jose. So that will be a message I will deliver, that we have to go out there now and seize on this momentum and continue this win streak for these 2 road games leading into our final 2 home games, that we have a chance to really position ourselves for a stretch run here in March.
Is that the biggest challenge or factor for your team on the road? Do you think it is toughness, or is it more complex than just one word like that, in terms of the road? I
mean, I think everyone will admit to win a road game requires a level of toughness. No, I'm not saying our kids aren't tough, but we have to get them tougher. They have to get tougher. And it's not physical, it's mental. They have to get mentally tougher to find a way to focus when things aren't going well on the road and not let a 6-point deficit turn into 12, turn into 18. You know, if we can keep a 6-point deficit 6 with 3 or 4 minutes to go, then we'll feel we can come back and win a game. So we have to play better longer on the road and not get our heads down when things don't go well, to stay in the fight longer to put ourselves in a position. And that's how we won in the past with our defense. You know, you can struggle on the road offensively, but if your defense can hold you in a game. So my encouraging thing is that we're playing better defensively. So I'd hope that would translate and keep us in a game, maybe when the offense isn't going as good, that our defense will hold us in a game and give us a chance to win some of these on the road.
The job you guys did against McCoy, you put a lot of different guys on him. It wasn't like just one guy was, and obviously that has you got subbing in and out, but
yep,
you progressively did just as well. Pretty proud of them for how they handled him, because they really seemed to fluster him a little bit. He had some turnovers, not some good shots.
It's hard to stop anybody one-on-one, so we changed where we help from this game. You know, we've always doubled with the opposite big man. And so we sat as a staff, and Justin Hudson does a great job scouting, and he thought we should go off the ball side guard and then scramble out of that. So I'm sure they prepared 2 or 3 days for the post double, big to big. That's what we do. But we changed up. We came off the ball side guard and doubled them from there and then scrambled out of that. And so whatever they practiced for 2 days, they didn't see. And so it probably took them a little bit to get a feel for what we were doing. And we didn't let him play us one-on-one. Maybe from the top a little bit, we showed bodies. But when it went into the low post, we came at him pretty hard from the ball side guard and did a good job of it.
Going back to going on the road, do you almost feel like there's sometimes a target like on your guys' back, just because the record isn't necessarily where you'd want it to be, but just you're a team that can beat Gonzaga, that can beat UNLV by 38 points. Do you think that teams are kind of fired up to play San Diego State when they come into their building, and that makes it a little bit more challenging?
Yeah, even though we haven't had a title for 3 years, we have the most titles in the Mountain West, and everybody knows that. So when San Diego State comes to town, we're a standard to play against. So they're playing against, even though they're not playing against Malcolm Thomas and Billy White and Kawhi Leonard, they're playing against Malcolm Thomas, Billy White, and Kawhi Leonard, and DJ Gay and Xavier Thames, because we're the team that's won games in the NCAA tournament. We're the teams with the most titles, and we carry a big reputation. So regardless of where we're in the standings, we're still San Diego State. And so we get everybody's best effort. We get their best home crowd most of the time. And so it is a challenge. And so it's a challenge we love and we want to live up to. So hopefully we will do that this Wednesday at Air Force.
5 straight games with underclassmen leading you in scoring. What does that say right now about kind of the depth you have or the talent you have?
The seniors will probably come in and wonder why the underclassmen are getting all the shots. But it's probably because the seniors play the right way.
Yeah.
They're seniors. So I don't think Trey comes in here at the end of this game and says, I didn't score enough points. You saw the pride he took in the assists, the making the right play. And so that's what you get from seniors. You get smart play. You don't get play where they're trying to force their game. They're just making the right play. And so even though they don't lead us in scoring, they're immeasurably important in victories. And I think you saw that tonight.
Just to ask you about Malik, there were a couple plays today where There was the one where he held up on the 3 and the guy went flying past him. And there was one where he was really patient under the basket and then dunked. Is that classic Malik and classic kind of senior play?
Yeah, that's
to show
Malik.
that kind of patience?
That's Malik when he doesn't draw a double team. You know, when he has room to operate. You know, a lot of these teams double him, and so he can't score against a double team. Nobody scores against a double team. But when he gets isolation basketball in the post or on the perimeter, and they try to play him one-on-one, he's a hard guard. And then when they send a second defender at him, then he makes the right play. So Malik has always played unselfishly. He's always played the game the right way, and we're proud of him for that. The only selfish thing he wanted to do today was go back in and get one more rebound so he could have 10 rebounds. So I don't blame him for that. I said, hey, I let you score 1,000 points the last game. What do you want from me? So we had a good laugh on that.
Do you appreciate the dunks and the, like Trey had the one at the end where he literally passed it over his head? Do you, as a coach, do you appreciate those any more than a fan does or any less than a fan does?
I appreciate the unselfish play. You know, I like the fact that when Trey has the ball, and that's why I run a lot of ball screens for Trey, because he always finds the open man. You know, and so I run the same plays, and some of the younger kids, they don't play selfish, but they don't see the floor like Trey sees it. So you run the exact same play, and Trey's vision is just better because of experience. And so that's why it's good to have him back. It's not good to have him back because he's going to put up 18 or 20 points. It's good to have him back because he always makes the right play. And so I'm always, as a coach, looking for the right play, and it's whoever makes it. Devin had a lob on a fast break for a dunk. Trey had a lob for a dunk. You know, I think Jeremy had a lob for a dunk. These guys are moving the ball, and they're finding each other, and that's infectious. Just as selfish play is infectious. One guy gets selfish, and the next guy says, well, why would I want to pass it? I'll get selfish. So that's always the thing you try to avoid as a coach, to avoid hero ball and get them sharing the ball. So I encourage as much as I can. And I talk about it in the press conferences because of that, because it's important.